All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is July 14th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at BYOBTrading.com. I am the lead instructor here in the BYOB Trading Room. This is a day trading service for the hit and run candlesticks services. All right, so let's take a look how I made my 60K today. Let's take a peek at that. All right, first we'll start off with, move over, come back up here. Okay, you got about 42K right there. All I'm doing is buying the dips and selling the peaks of this 10-minute uptrend right here. Usually buying them for 2 cents and selling them for 4, or buying them for 3 cents and selling them for 5, or buying them for 2 cents and selling them for 4. Okay, that's it on those. 41 on that. 27K on these 625 calls. Okay, as you can see, all I'm doing, 10-minute uptrend. I'm just buying the dips and selling the peaks. Buying the dips and selling the peaks. Got a 10-minute uptrend as price decay, as the option price decays. Okay, because you can see, price for this is a 625 call. Price would need to go up above 625. You can see price decays all the way down to 3 cents due to the fact that we didn't close over 625. It's 625 strike. So again, buying the dips and selling the peaks on that out of the money call. That's a 0 DTE. 627s were 0 DTEs. Get 10K on these 625 0 DTEs. Again, buying the dips of the uptrend. All right, on the option, because the price is going to decay. Okay, so I'm buying the dips and selling the peaks. Every time price rally, I've got sell orders up there for price to run into. All right, 635 calls, 4 days till expiration. Again, buying the dips and selling the peaks up there. Same thing, 10-minute uptrend. 11 DTEs, 640 calls. All right. Again, buying the dip and selling the peaks up here, okay? So made 93 on those, lost 4 on these puts, lost 33 on those puts. Made some money on some Amazon calls, which are right here. Made $9 on those. I was expecting price to take off. It just went sideways. I got sell orders in case price finally does decide to make a move off of this base. So I got some Amazon calls. Intel, all right, bought some Intel calls into the dip here, and I did not sell any yet. Okay, so got some Intel calls. Again, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right there. Okay, how long do you normally? Somebody ask a question. How long do I normally hold? Okay, hold 0 DTEs. Depending upon the price. Today was a trend day, all right, on SPY. So on a trend day like today, if it looks like it's going to go past 2 o'clock, 2:30, all right, and possibly close at the high of the day near the end of the day, I will hold some right up until closing time. Not a lot, because remember, I mean, they expire at 4:15. All right, so I don't have much time left. I either got to ditch them for a small profit or for a small loss. So, John, what's your expiration on and the strikes for the Amazon calls? Amazon is 235 calls. Okay, they're 235 and they're 4 days till expiration. All right, 235 strike, 4 days till expiration. And right now, if you're shopping for them, they're like 19, 20 cents a share. Okay, kind of like that. I like that. That's kind of cheap for me. I like that. Okay, and the Intel shares, the Intel are 67 days till expiration. 67 days till expiration up here, and those are 25 strike. 67 days, 25 strike on those. All right. All right, so you see how I made some money today. All right, let's go take a peek at some charts. Let's take a look at SPY first. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, so into the close, we've got the 10-minute chart. Got a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. On the 2-hour chart, let's move this over just a little bit. Squeeze it up a little bit more. Okay, 2-hour, because the 3 is underneath the 8 EMA. Okay, on the 2-hour chart, got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Quite different. We had a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close this morning or Friday night. Okay, so 2-hour uptrend coming into the close here. Okay, so what do I like? I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. Okay, let's look at that. 10-minute, see the 3 up over the 8, 10-minute uptrends over VWAP, that's the brown line, inside 2-hour uptrends. Okay, inside of a 2-hour uptrend, inside of a daily uptrend, see the daily, 3 on top of the 8, all on top of the 17 right here, that's the green dots. Okay, inside of a weekly uptrend, again, 3 on top of the 8 over the 17, that's the green dots. Okay, inside of a monthly uptrend, again, 3 on top of the 8 over the green dots. Okay, over the all-time high anchored VWAP or the prior all-time high anchored VWAP. So if we have, let's just put that on there. Let's take anchored VWAP, put it on the prior all-time high, which is right there. You can see we're up over and moving up. All right, so that's my favorite. That's my favorite trade. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside the 2-hour uptrend, inside the daily uptrend, inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend. See, I got all the force, all the wind is behind my sails to push my option higher. Okay, I got a daily uptrend, a 2-hour uptrend, a weekly uptrend, a monthly uptrend. Nothing is working against me. All right, you see that? 2-hour, all right, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, nothing is working. Maybe the 2-minute will work against me. I'm fine with that as long as the 10-minute stays in an uptrend where the 3 is above the 8. Okay, I'm looking for that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, maybe the 2 gets in a downtrend. I'm fine with that. That's going to happen inside our 10-minute uptrends. All right, so, but other than that, I've got a 2-hour uptrend working with me, a daily uptrend working with me, weekly, monthly. You get the idea? All the forces are behind you. They're all working together to push my option higher. All right, that's what I like. That's my best setup. Okay, and above that, you're on top of all-time high anchored VWAP right there. See that? So you're on top. It's not the all-time high, it's the prior all-time high, but that's really good news when you're above that and you're moving up. All right, so there's SPY. Let's take a look at the candle for today. Okay, it is, okay, here's the high from yesterday, 624.86. The high for today, 625.16. So we got an outside day. That's a higher high and a lower low, but closing over the bullish trap, that's bullish. Over the 17, always bullish. At the top of quadrant 4, bullish. Holding the higher ground, also bullish. And in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. Okay, that's bullish up there. Okay, financial's going to report tomorrow. They should be looking good. I would expect SPY to make a new all-time high tomorrow morning. Maybe even tonight, okay? Maybe even later tonight in the after hours or in the pre-market hours, okay? So let's go take a look at QQQ. QQQ, same deal. Outside day, over the trap, over the 17, okay? Over the all-time high, prior all-time high anchored VWAP. Right there, pink line, all right? Top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow got there's a high is 444.46. The high there, 444.76. Another outside day. Closing over the trap, bullish trap. See the 3 on top of the 8. Over the 17 EMA, okay? Okay, over the trap, over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish in an uptrend. Holding the higher ground. Look, it's not moving up and giving it up like it did here and here. Instead, they decided to camp out. All right, we like that. Up there at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at IWM. IWM puts in a lower high and a lower low, closing over the bullish trap. That's bullish. Okay, over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP in the upper third. Okay, of the quad lines in the upper third. So that's bullish. Still in an uptrend. Higher lows, higher highs. Nothing's broken here. Everything's still looking good. IWM in an uptrend and bullish in the upper third. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. Okay, FNGU got a outside, let's test it. High there, 24.15. High there, 24.20. Okay, higher high, lower low. Closing under a bearish trap, but over the rising 17 EMA. Still holding the plank up there, holding that higher ground up at the top of quadrant 4, okay, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, still making higher lows and higher highs. That's still bullish. All right, so did they get below this? No, they did not get below this tail. So they're still in an uptrend. All right, and I actually have to break this tail in order to get into a downtrend. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at game plan this morning. All right, so what were the marching orders first thing this morning? Let's go take a look at those. All right, see if I can find it. And there's game plan. Let's try this one right here. Okay. And let's take a look at it on the 10-minute, okay? So we had is right here, okay? This was the pre-market highs right there, all right? This is the pre-market range. So we made a bullish move, see, out of the pre-market. Okay, we made, again, highs, lows. Okay, so we made a bullish move out of the pre-market highs right there. Nice little 10-minute rip. Okay, coming up over to the pivot up there. And you can see a big green candle, big green tail, another green tail. You can see the higher lows. Let me map those out so you can see those. Okay, you got a low, higher low, higher low. Okay, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then rip right over the pivot. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP right here. Okay, we make a lot of money on the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, right there, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, especially when price separates itself, all right, from VWAP. Notice, see the distance, all right? This is where the money's made. Lots of money to be made when you got this, okay? Only institutions can do this. Think of VWAP as what the security or the index should be selling for. That's the average, all right? Well, close to it anyways, okay? VWAP is the volume weighted average price, supposedly close to what each share sold for as an average, okay? So that would be the average price. That's what shares should sell for, okay? But when price rips away from it, and only institutions can do this, Okay, they're showing you a bullish behavior. In other words, they're willing to pay more than what they should pay for it because they want it, because they believe it's going higher, or they're probably going to make it go higher. Okay, so there it is. 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, you had a clue on that on Friday. All right, let me just pan through that. Let me trash that out, and let's pan over so you can see the clue. Okay, I'm going to show you the clue. Okay, see the up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So every time it comes down, the bulls buy it up. Every time it comes down, the bulls buy it up. This is a wind up. Okay, same thing here. All right, same thing here. Bulls are buying it up. All right, this is just winding up. This is going to explode out of here, probably, into new highs. All right, like 650, here we come. Okay, I'm just saying this is winding up. All right, and it may do this for a couple more days. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But this is winding up, all right, to like a spring, all right, coiled up, ready to strike, like a coiled up snake, ready to strike higher, up in the air. All right, so this is looking good. SPY. That's the 10-minute chart. Okay, coiled up yesterday, coiled up again today. All right, that's bullish. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. T2122. Okay, we came out of, remember, Friday we did nothing but wander around back and forth in the sellers and the buyers chop zones. Okay, that's all we did. All right, it's a 15-minute chart of T2122. All right, now we find ourselves in the buy zone at the end of the day. Hey, that's bullish. Got higher low, higher high. Higher low, higher high. Okay? Got another higher low. Yeah, I'd like to see another higher high tomorrow. And it's looking good. All right? To make a higher high tomorrow morning. All right? Looking for a blast off sometime in the pre-market tomorrow. Maybe when those financials report. Okay? T2122. Back in the buy zone. All right? That's good. We're back. All right? Let's take a look at T2123. Look at the melt up here. Okay? Big melt up. All right? So notice the bullish gap still isn't filled. Look at price move up. Remember I told you it holds a plank. All right? I don't know if you guys exercise or do a little yoga. All right? Okay, this right here is like holding a plank for 6 hours. It takes an incredible amount of energy to do that. You can see price instead of moving up, all right, and giving it up, okay, come back down and rest. Okay, they're up and they're holding the higher ground. That's like on your elbows, okay, or on your fingers, okay, with your arms extended, holding a plank, okay, for that amount of time. That is bullish, okay? That is strength right there. Okay, green from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. Look at the melt up. This is coiling up to make a strike higher. Okay, notice the price action up over the rising 200 SMA. That's beautiful. All right, maybe it goes for another day. It could happen. All right, this is looking fantastic. T2123 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at the same thing on the 3-bar chart. It's the same product. It's going to look very similar. Okay, back to the 15, okay, just to let you know. Okay, so there's a low. There's a higher low right there. See it below the 17? There's a higher low. So there's a high. That's over the 17. There's a higher high. There's a higher high. Okay, and let's just look at this price action right here. Okay, I'm going to put the crosshairs on it. Okay, that is a new rally high for the T2123. Okay, new rally high right there for T2123. Okay, they just inked it out at on the last candle. Okay, that's bullish. Coming into the end of the day and they're buying it up like that, that means that's bullish for tomorrow. Okay? I'll be looking for some green candles tomorrow morning. All right. I'll be looking for that 10-minute uptrend. All right. So there's T2123. I was back to the 15. Okay. Now we go look at the same thing on the 3 bar. Okay. You're up over the hooking 200 SMA. Again, your plank up there on the higher ground. Again, you're holding the higher ground. Like I said, it takes an incredible amount of energy and capital to get that done, to hold it up there so that everybody that wants to sell, they're not going any lower. They're buying it back right there. Okay, up over the 17 EMA, up over the 200, up over prior all-time high 1 and prior all-time high 2. This is the all-time high up there. Okay, this is looking ready to strike at the all-time highs right up here. Okay, I think we go higher. All right, I think we go higher because I know what inflation does. Inflation causes the price of goods and services to go higher. That means more revenue for all the securities when their goods and services are now selling for more. Okay, it sucks for the consumer, but for the investor or for the capitalist, okay, it's a beautiful thing because now they're selling their stuff for more. More revenue, okay, usually transcends into higher profits. Higher profits is more earnings per share. Hence, you get a bigger percentage or a bigger number for your stock or for your security. Okay, and if they all are doing this, then they're all probably going to make higher highs. Okay. Okay. Now remember, it was going on here. We had inflation here too. Okay. I'm just saying. I still think we put in a higher low, and I still think we're going for a higher high. So that's T2123. We'll see what happens, all right? FNGU. Let's take a look at FNGU for the 14th, okay? Okay, they finished off the selling right here with the spike down early in the morning, the bulls. Yep, they bought it back up, okay? And you can see there was buying almost to the end of the day. Then they took the last 3 hours off, or 3 15-minute section, last 45 minutes off, okay? But look, up over the VWAP, all right, institutional buying right there, okay? Under the 200 SMA, not good, but hey, they're leaning and knocking on the door to go higher, all right? Let's look at the price action, all right? It's always relative how it looks as compared to everything. Okay, price is up and over to the right. Not the prettiest, but up and over to the right. That's bullish. Okay, that's still bullish. All right, it's a whole lot better than going up and coming back down, which is what they could have done. All right, but they didn't do that. Again, they went up and they went for the plank. And they decided to put in the work. All right? They put in the plank right up there, holding the higher ground. All right? So there's FNGU. All right? Let's go take a look at a few sectors. We'll start off with, see if I can meander my way back. Okay, a few sectors. Let's start off with XLE. And we'll look at it on the daily. So here's XLE, lower high, lower low. Okay, closing in the trap. Okay, that's bullish. Over the 17, that's bullish. They're over downtrend line 1 and downtrend line 2. Okay, remember they got a habit of moving up and giving it up. All right, they were on top of all-time high anchored VWAP. And then they lost it today. Okay, they could get back up there tomorrow. We'll see. All right. You can see price action still in an uptrend, making higher lows. You can maybe see the high making higher highs. Did they make a higher high here? I think they did. I'm pretty sure I checked this morning. All right. Let's put the crosshairs. High there, 89.44. High here is 89.43, 89.43. All right, so that was a rally high on Friday, right there. Okay, that's good. All right, that's bullish. All right, making a higher high, that's an uptrend. Okay, they made the higher low. You can see the bulls were inspired to make the higher high. Not by much, but they did get it done. Okay, so there's XLE, uptrend. Okay, again, just neutral because we're not in the lower third. Okay, the lower third's down here. Okay, we're not in the lower third, and we're not in the upper third up here. Okay, right, we're right in the middle. So right, because this is neutral, right in there. Again, you move up and you give it up. That's neutral. Same thing if you move down and you give it up. You can see where we are. That's neutral. So they're just still in neutral land. Okay, right there. This XLE, but in an uptrend. All right, and looking poised to strike and find a home inside that bullish upper third. All right, that's XLE. Let's take a look at USO. USO putting in, bearish engulfing. And that looks like, that looks like a lower high and a lower low, closing underneath a bullish trap, but over the 17. That's a bearish engulfing. Okay, so this morning you can see USO was in the upper third. All right, and then they lost it today. Okay, right there they lost it. Okay, they could turn around and recover it tomorrow. We'll see. All right. Again, so now they're just neutral. Remember they got a habit of moving down. All right, and giving it up, and then guess what? And they move up. And they give it up too. All right, so they're just neutral. Again, in the upper third would be bullish, not there. Notice they closed underneath it. In the lower third would be bearish. They're nowhere near it. Okay, so they're just neutral in through here. Okay, this is neutral land. All right, upper third bullish, lower third bearish. Okay, so there's USO, just neutral. It's still in an uptrend. Notice they make, here's a low, higher low, higher low. There's a high, higher high. So they're still in an uptrend, okay? They just were bullish, but they lost it today, okay? So there's USO. All right, let's take a look at UNG. I think UNG had a good day. Not too bad. Not impressive, but it's a good day. Higher low, higher high, closing over the bearish trap, but under the falling 17. Okay, still in a downtrend. Okay, they'd have to take out this high to negate the downtrend. Okay, they're still in the lower third. All right, because they're still underneath. See the lower third? They're still underneath here, so they're still bearish, and they're still in a downtrend because they've got here's a high, there's a lower high, there's an even lower high. Okay. And then here's some lows. Here's 4 lows. And we made a lower low. Okay? In order to negate the downtrend, we'd have to take out this high right there. It's not getting done yet. All right? So you can see they're in a downtrend. They're also showing you the head and shoulders pattern. Okay? So that's your head. Okay? And then you got these double top here. There's a right shoulder. And then there's a left shoulder right there, okay? And they're in a downtrend, and they broke the neckline, and they're trying to recover it right there, okay? We'll see if they can get it recovered, all right? But they're showing you a head and shoulders pattern. They're in a downtrend. They're bearish because they're in the lower third, all right? So there's UNG, all right? It's bearish and in a downtrend, okay? Not ready to go long yet on that one. Let's take a look at gold and silver. Gold started a new uptrend on Friday, okay, because they took out this high. See the high that popped over the 17? They made a higher high, so they negated the downtrend, okay, so making that higher high. So now they're in an uptrend. Price action for today's candle, lower high, lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 and over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish up there in quadrant 4. Again, moving up, okay, moving up and holding the higher ground, okay, moving up and planking right there, okay, that's bullish. You move up, you hold the higher ground. That's bullish. They're still in an uptrend. I just showed you they took out that high. So they're making higher lows. See the higher lows? And there's a high right there. Okay? And they made a higher high coming over the top of that one right there. Okay? So gold in an uptrend and bullish up there at the top of quadrant 3. Okay? Nice 3-month rest, which was pretty much what I said 3 months ago. They need to cool off and rest it. All right, so now nice rest. Getting ready for a breakout, I think. All right, it's looking good. All right, so there's gold. Let's take a look at silver. Silver had a fantastic day on Friday. Okay, silver prints a new 12-year high. Okay, drop the mic. All right, enough said. There's nothing else that beats that other than a new all-time high. Okay, just doesn't get any better than that except for the all-time high. Okay, higher high, new 12-year high, new rally high. Okay, new rally high, new 12-year high. Silver's bullish. It's in an uptrend. Okay, new 12-year high says it all. Okay, let's take a look at SMH. All right, SMH is still bullish, up in quadrant 3. Excuse me, up in quadrant 4. All right, up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish and still in an uptrend. That's looking fantastic. XLK, technology sector. Okay, so closing in the trap over the 17, up in quadrant 4. Look at them close at the top of quadrant 4 over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, XLK, bullish, uptrend. All right, let's take a look at XLF. Hey, by the way, financials reporting tomorrow morning. Okay, and I'm going to tell you they should be good. All right, you know why? Because they're the ones that facilitate the market making new all-time highs. Okay, so they should know how to make money because the market's making new all-time highs. Okay, so they better be good. All right, I'll be surprised if they're not. Now, the market may sell them off, thinking that they're overbought. Okay, that's a possibility that the earnings come in fantastic, which they should. All right, but the market says that's enough for me. I want to take my ball and go home, and they start selling them off. That's a possibility too. I don't think so, but it may happen. All right. So I'm expecting good news tomorrow morning. All right. Actually, all this week. All right. You can see here's price action. Looking like an outside day. That's a lower low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, holding the plank up there at the higher ground, top of quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right. Higher lows, higher highs. That's an uptrend over prior all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish. Okay, everything looking good. Financials. All right, let's take a look at IYT. All right, IYT still in quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, still got the higher high. Hasn't made a lower low, so it's still in an uptrend and it's still bullish because it's in the upper third. It's actually in quadrant 4 and it's up over that all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, so hey, no secret what I like. Doesn't matter if it's an index or a sector. If you're in a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP and you're inside a 2-hour uptrend and you're inside the daily uptrend, you're inside the weekly uptrend and you're inside the monthly uptrend, okay, and you got all the wind at your sails, all right, and nothing to really, be an obstacle over the all-time high anchored VWAP, hey, that's what I like. Doesn't matter if it's a sector or an index. It's looking fantastic. IYT, bullish, all right? Up there in the upper third, okay, in quadrant 4, still in an uptrend. All right, questions. I got that question. John, what expiration and strikes for Amazon? I thought I answered this, but I have the 4-day till expiration 235 calls. Okay, currently selling for 19 cents a share. That's cheap. All right, so I like them cheap. All right, stack them deep and sell them cheap. All right, so there we go. All right, so there's 235 calls, Amazon. All right, 4 days till expiration. Somebody else? Do you set up 0DTE orders in the pre-market based on your analysis? Yes. I did foresee a possibility as price gap down. I bought in the pre-market. I had a standing order to buy some puts first thing at market as a market order when the market opened, just in case things rolled over, because we were gapping down and we were down below yesterday's, kind of below yesterday's low in the pre-market. So let's go to SPY and let's just look at that so you can understand what I'm saying. 5 minute, and let's go with pre-market. Okay, so you can see this was yesterday's low and we had some pre-market activity down here. So I had a standing order to buy some puts first thing this morning. Okay, so here's my puts. I'll just scroll down to the first thing this morning, which would be about 9:30. You can see right there, 9:30. I bought a 4 DTE put, a 1 DTE put, and a 0 DTE put. Now, my reasoning for that is if I see things roll over and I want some puts, I want them already in my inventory. So all I got to do is just snap on them and they pull right up. All right, that's the whole reason, okay? That's the only reason. Now, I only got one, and they were just a placeholder, okay? Just a placeholder for me to just snap on them, all right? In case that's what I wanted to trade that day, all right? It cost me like $32 because I think I closed out those puts. I lost 8 on one and 32 on the other one, all right? But for me, it makes sense to have it already juiced up and ready to go when I'm ready to when I'm going to trade something in the morning. So if I see something I want to trade, I put in a market order and I just get one. All right, I know I'm gonna, whatever I trade it is probably gonna, it's either gonna make me $1,000 or it's gonna lose $400. One or the other. It's either gonna lose $400 or I'm gonna make $1,000 off of it. So I want it already in my queue, and that's why I put in market orders in the morning, just to have them ready. Now, this one didn't lose 400. I think I only lost like 45. I think it was 37 and 8, which would make 45 right there. And Mel's, thanks, Scott. Mel says, when you showed us the 17 EMA for the green dots on the SPY daily, are you saying as long as the EMA, as price stays above the 17 EMA, okay, we're in a daily uptrend? Yes. Yes, we'll be in an uptrend as long as we're over that 17. Now, will we be in an uptrend if we're underneath it? Yes, we will be, all right, because we haven't technically made a lower low, all right? So let's just go visit what Mel is asking about, okay? And she's talking about the 17 EMA, okay? I want to see it up over the 17, okay? When we do coin and we want to buy coin, okay, we like to see it up over the 17, okay? If it's not over the 17, do we really like to swing trade it? Not really, right? Because it's not over the 17, okay? That's spooky when it's not over the 17. Right now, it's over the 17, so we like it. And it's got a nice daily uptrend, okay? Now for SPY, okay, they could be under the 17, but still has not made a lower low. All right? Which makes it still technically in an uptrend, just experiencing a pullback in the uptrend. Will I like it as much under the 17? Probably not, but I still like the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, inside the 2-hour uptrend, inside the daily, inside the weekly, inside the monthly. Okay, so preferably I like them bullish, and they remain bullish as long as I like them up over the 17, all right, or hanging out up top. Now, could price consolidate up here? It's very possible that price consolidates between 624 and 600. That's a possibility. Okay, I doubt it, but there is a possibility that it does consolidate. Notice this. This is the dip low anchored VWAP is pulling into. See this middle thing? That's usually a target. Okay, so I'm just telling you that they like to tag this and they like to tag that. And this and that are getting pretty close to being the same number. All right, they're getting pretty close right there. All right, so you notice we still didn't make a significant higher high today. Again, financials might come in fantastic, and we could have a pullback all the way to this rising anchored VWAP here. And don't forget, if they snap it, if they hit it hard and fast, it'll probably bounce like a red rubber school ball. All right, probably. All right, see that right there? That would be the target right there. That's the valley between the two peaks. That is almost always the target, is the valley between the two peaks or the peak between two valleys, either one, okay? But you notice these two are getting lined up. So don't be surprised, all right, after consolidating up here for 2 weeks, if we don't get any action, price comes slamming down just to shake out all the weekends right here. And then watch it bounce all the way back up. All right, just saying. Hey, thanks, Robert. Thank you, Alpha Dog. Okay. Yeah, I'm still going to be bullish if I have a 2-hour uptrend, Mel, on that. Hope I answered your question. All right, traders, that's it for me for today. All right. Thanks, Gene. Hey, I just want to say, a lot of people in the room called out making daily goals today. And that is music to my ears, because I can do this, but it doesn't mean crap if I'm the only one that can do it. All right? And I love the fact that a lot of you inside the room today made money, made your daily goals, you made your accounts grow. That pleases me to no end to see that, because I want everybody on the outside that's watching this video to understand that. It's just not me that's doing well. There's a lot of traders in the room that are doing fabulous and fantastic, okay? And they're doing that because they're trading that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, where price and the trap separate themselves from the VWAP moving average. All right, I just want you to know. Brent did good. Thanks, Brent. Okay, thank you, everybody. Scott, Robert, Gene, Mel, Brent, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Let's do it again. All right, let's see what those financials are going to say. They better be, I think they're going to be good. Now, whether the market sells them or buys them will be interesting, all right? Because I really think they're going to be good. There's no way they can be bad, especially with all the indices making new all-time highs. It just doesn't make sense. They're the ones that facilitate the new highs. So, I mean, all they got to do is ride the coattails of the big capital wherever being big capital is putting their money. So, all right. So, all right. See you tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Everybody have a beautiful evening. Thank you.